With the animated GIF now complete, I'm going to go to Dreamweaver and construct the layer which is going to hold the image and animation. So over to my page. This is my page at the moment. Simply it's got a image this size here and it's got some text at the top of the page. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this tool here, which is a draw layer tool. Layers are basically dynamic HTML, but the dynamic HTML has been written for you by Dreamweaver. To use this, click on the icon and anywhere at all, just drag out a box. And this is now what's called a layer. You can select this layer by here. I would recommend that when you are using layers that you open your window and you go to layers. And this here is a little box to show you the amount of layers, and you can turn layers on and off like so, and you can prevent overlaps of layers, which is if you want to convert layers to tables later on, you will need this clicked on. However, for this exercise this is not highly important. I can close this window again because we're only going to be using one layer. I'm going to select the layer by clicking here, and I'm just going to click on the inside of the layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert an image. So I'm going to go into my images folder, I'm going to select bug.gif and click select. The width and height of the bug image is 100, so I'm going to highlight the layer by clicking here, and when you have these boxes around it you can see the image or the layer that is selected and the size of it. I'm just going to drag in the size and to about 100 by 100, and you can set this here by hand. So the width 100 pixels and the height 100 pixels. Okay, this here is the location, so if I set this to 0, 0, it'll be up in the top corner, 0 and 0, and if I set this anywhere else I can move it over 50 pixels and I can move it down 50 pixels, or I could give this a minus 50 pixels number and it'll disappear slightly off screen. However, for the time being I'm going to give it 250 pixels so we can see it here. If we just leave everything as it is, we've got the asterisk up, which means we've done something that hasn't been saved, and we go File and go Save instead of using the shortcut, and go Alt Tab over to our page and click Refresh. We can see that the bug is animation in the page and it is like waving its wings and stuff, but we want this to be moving now around the page in a circular fashion. So back to Dreamweaver. What we need to do is we need to edit this layer. We need to edit this layer in such a way that it moves around. So this is called timeline editing or animation in our page. So up here, and if we go to window and we go to timeline, which is here, we can adjust the layer over time. One of the key things about animation is that all animation really is, it's frames by time, so which gives the appearance or illusion of movement. So it's frames which are located here against our timeline, which is here. So up here we've got 15 frames per second, or FPS. If we want to animate this, we simply grab it like so, and we can drag it into our timeline. Okay, so we don't show this again. And what we do here is we click on, you see you'll have two kind of like circle icons here. This is the end of the frame or of the layer movement, and this is the beginning. So wherever it is at this point, it will be here at this point. So if we move, if we click on the last one and now move the layer slightly, you will get this line which represents the movement over time. And now if I scrub the timeline, which is dragging it over and back like so, you will see that it actually moves over time. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to move it again from this point onwards to somewhere else. So one of the easiest ways again is to drag it back in like so, and now what we can do is we can go to the end of this one and click it here, just have this box clicked, and we can now move it over here like so. So it's moving the whole way from there to there. Okay, once again just re-drag it back in, click on the first, bring it up here. Okay, so it's now going Whoops, it's actually now going the wrong way. Okay, which is a common problem. So what we do is we can look here and we can see the dimensions it's at 303 and 178 here. So what we can do is we can go 303 for here and 178. So now it doesn't appear to move anywhere. So what I can do now is I can drag it to the end and I can move this back up here. Okay, so it's got movement again going in the right direction. Oops. Now what I want to do is I want it to come back to the final point of resting, which is where it all began. So I'm going to re-drag it in here. If I click here, it's in the right place, but I want the end point to be the exact same as the start point. Okay, so the start point for the entire animation was 250 by 50. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scroll up here. I'm going to click on the last one here, and if I come back over here I can set this to 250 by 50. So now it arrives back at the exact same place where it started. So if I send this back to the beginning and click play, we get this type of motion happening on the page. And what I need to do now is I need to click autoplay, and I'll just go OK, and I'll click loop. So I'll click OK. So the loop puts a little command in here which says that when the playhead, which is this red line here, when the playhead reaches this point here, send it back to the beginning. Okay, the asterisk is here, which means we've made more changes that haven't been saved. So file and save, and back to our browser, and if we click refresh now, it moves about, flapping its wings on the page.